You're going to hear a remarkable set of stories today. 25 young Mexican musicians during the pandemic joined us in grieving the loss of Tim Hazel, who was their conductor. But hope came very quickly with Robert Mari, who came in and became their new volunteer music director at Pro-Musica's youth orchestra. Hello, Gail. I didn't see you back there. In only a year, Robert has doubled the size from 25 to 50, and he has provided the gift of their talent to our community. He has played music since he was 3, and he has directed since he was 13. By age 15, he was the music director and conductor of 2 folk orchestras in both Vancouver and Victoria, Canada. While completing his Master's of Music at the University of British Columbia, he conducted several choirs and orchestras. During his postgraduate studies at Peabody Conservatory, he founded a chamber music orchestra and was recognized by President Ronald Reagan for his contributions to community. He later was the music director and conductor for an orchestra and choir in Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Robert has composed music for orchestras and choirs and films and has produced recordings. Today he's going to share, listen up, a really, really great thing, how we may sponsor individual musicians to cover their stipends and travel expenses because most of these kids can't even afford bus fare to San Miguel. And sponsors are going to receive, get this, invitations to rehearsals, free tickets with prime reserve seating, opportunities to know their musician, and an invitation to an annual party. So I present to you Robert Mari.
Wow, that was quite the introduction. Thank you very much. I'm impressed. Welcome all. So let's pull up our first slide here. There you go. There we go. So Pro-Musica Youth Orchestra has been sponsored by the Pro-Musica, which started under Tim Hazel. And since I've taken it over, my goal, up a bit. Thank you very much. Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you. Is that better? Okay, excellent. Next slide, Diego. So my tagline for the orchestra is enrich, inspire, perform. So there's a partnership between the community and an orchestra, because without a performance, without an audience, doesn't work, and a performance without an orchestra or your presentation doesn't work. So there's this handshaking that happens. And it's actually a triple handshake in this case because we have our founding group, which is Pro-Musica, we have the orchestra, and we have our public. So enrich both the lives of the young adult musicians and the community because we present these concerts. Inspire the musicians to give their absolute best in terms of performing, and inspire our community to support them. Perform, well, performance is a partnership between the audience and the performers. Next slide. So this is a photo of our first rehearsal at Bellas Artes. Last year we were stuck without, because of COVID. We were outdoors, we were at Sindicato. You can imagine at Sindicato, he didn't show up to unlock the door. And I'm standing on the sidewalk with 50 musicians waiting, and then we all had to walk, like I felt like the Pied Piper, down to St. Paul's Church. And then we waited for an hour for the service to end so we could rehearse there. I mean, this is the kinds of craziness that went on last year. This year, Bellas Artes, we're the resident orchestra there. They opened the doors an hour early for us. We can warm up. It's fabulous. And then we have a concert hall there that we'll be presenting. Our first concert this season is on the 11th of December. It's a Sunday at Bellas Artes in their hall at 5 o'clock. So please come. Please support us. Even if you can't come, send money, do something to support this incredible concert. And the concert's not an easy concert. So we're doing Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Everybody knows that one. A fugue by Bach, and Brahms' First Symphony, which you may not know Brahms' First Symphony, but it's a big, very difficult work, and it is magnificent, the journey that it takes you on. And so that's what the orchestra looks like. Yep, thank you. The mission of the orchestra is to nurture aspiring Mexican musicians to develop and strengthen their life skills through musical performance. So the underlying mission is really nurturing life skills. So I don't know, many of us here have had plumbers that tell you they'll be there at 9 in the morning and they may not even show up till the afternoon or the next day. You never know. The students and the musicians are hit. So we give them a stipend to be able to come to rehearsals and so that they don't have to have jobs as a waiter or in other things that don't help their career and help them out. But not only that, if they come up late, they have to pay a fee for being late. If they miss a rehearsal, they pay for that because in order to get 100% of what they would make at a concert, they have to have attended 100% of the rehearsals. So we're instilling these kinds of values into these young Mexican adults. So whether they want to be musicians or something else in their career and their instrument is just their hobby, basically, I really feel that it's most important that we're teaching them life skills. And you'll see if we have time at the end, I'll show you a video, and one of the girls teaches hundreds of students. And so the values that we present through the orchestra goes from us to that one person to hundreds of other young Mexican children. So this is what my goal is. The long-term vision is to evolve and sustain this orchestra. So right now we are 100% dependent on Pro-Musica, which is a total blessing. What I would like us to do is now not only have our funding from Pro-Musica, but from the San Miguel community. Because I think that's really what's most important about this orchestra, is it's part of San Miguel now. And that we have an orchestra, first of all, which we've never really had here, and it's a semi-professional orchestra. I know we have orchestra concerts here of passing orchestras, and they bring things through, but we have this wonderful opportunity here. They're semi-professional. You'll hear later. The quality of the music is excellent. So the long-term vision is to make the orchestra sustainable. And that's partly why I'm so thrilled that Rotary is allowing me to present this to you, because Rotary they walk their talk, which is what I think is so important, right? It's not just a lot of talking, but Rotarians do their work in the community. Thus, the orchestra itself is doing that as well. About us. So, you can read it, but the Pro-Musica Youth Orchestra supports about 50 young musicians. So there's 50 in the group now, 18 to 30 of age. Most orchestras in the United States and Canada, they have a cutoff at 25. I needed to make the cutoff 30 because in Mexico, it takes a lot longer for these students to break free and break into their careers. As a result, I've extended that up to 30 years old. After 30, I don't give them the stipend, but if they continue to play with us, I will pay them for the concert as a professional musician. In Mexico, when you have a group, like if I play with a jazz group, I don't pay the musicians for rehearsals. I only pay them for the gig. So you have to understand here the culture is a little different. In North America, when you show up, you get paid, typically, okay? So this is something that we do. They're provided the stipend, which we've talked about, which covers their travel expenses. Robin already mentioned it. Many of them can't afford bus fare to come here. Many of them travel more than 2 hours each direction every Sunday for a 3-hour rehearsal. That is a very long day. I give them a 10-minute break in that 3-hour rehearsal because we can't waste a minute. So they are busy they leave first thing in the morning, they don't get home until nighttime. Many of them come from Celaya, and they have to find routes to get here because of the dangers on the highways, and they have to look that up. This is the kind of dedication that these young students are doing. And so through hard work and discipline, the orchestra rehearses and we perform challenging music designed to prepare them for a future as a professional orchestra musician. So my job is twofold. One is to teach values to all the students, and then for all the musicians. And the other part of it is for those that want to have a career in music, they need to learn the standard repertoire and have experience playing it. It's one thing to practice your part and go to an audition. It's a whole other thing to have performed the piece and to really have worked it. It will bring their level up a huge notch. Okay? Our first season was last year, and if you listen to the recordings between our first concert and our third concert, you can hear a massive jump up in their level and their abilities and their concentration in their sound production. So as a team, the three of us, Pro-Musica, the orchestra, and our community, we have shared goals and values. So the three of us work together to manifest our mission and our vision. Oh, sure, it's easy to sit there, all high and mighty with your Stradivarius, which are about $1 million a violin. You had a choice. All my parents could afford was a baton. Okay. As I said, many of these kids can't even afford bus fare to come to rehearsals. So we have a slightly reverse situation here, but I thought this was appropriate. Okay. So the goals for our organization, musicians, and community is to promote, our main goals are to promote the sustainability of the orchestra so that the community can feel confident in our continued growth and success. If you're investing in us, you want to know that we're going to be around more than tomorrow. And that's what my goal is with the orchestra, is to really make us long-term sustainable. If I can't make it, we plug in a different conductor. If somebody else, one of our volunteers or someone else isn't there, we can put someone else in there. Is to have an organization that supports us long-term. And that is to promote the growth and future of classical music. Don't know if you realize this, but classical music is slowly dying. Orchestras, you know, we just watched a fun thing. Those old Warner Brothers and Disney cartoons that we always used to watch, those little shorts, 3-minute long, you know, Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse or whatever else, every one of the soundtracks had a live orchestra recording them. Okay, that's gone. All of that is gone. When you see a movie nowadays, instead of a huge 100-piece orchestra, 150-piece orchestra like John Williams did for those movies, you may have one person sitting on a keyboard composing everything and recording everything through their computer. So when I see the school program in Canada, the public school system does not have orchestras anymore. They might have a band, they might have wind instruments, but strings, no. Private schools, yes. United States, the same thing. Bands are big, orchestras are a whole different kettle of fish. In Asia, orchestras are still number one. They're big. That's like, because there's an esteem to having an orchestra, so learning a violin and stuff has a different value. But in North America, it is slowly going down and down and down, and it's very difficult for orchestra musicians to survive without teaching. So this is the situation. So this is part of what I think is really important, is that for us to keep classical music alive, we need orchestras like this in our towns, like San Miguel. This is critical for our community, and it's critical for those students as well, and those musicians. So it's again, we're shaking our hands together. So it's enriching our local community and supporting our young musicians through symphonic musical concerts. It's all about the concert, really. I mean, that's what the pinnacle is. But it's the preparation, it's the support, it's the entertainment aspects of it. So the values for our organization, the musicians, and the community, this is interesting. The manner by which we achieve our goals is very important. Thus, understanding the values that underpin our behavior is essential. The organization, musicians, and community have different values while still sharing the same overall goals. So we have our own way of doing things under the guidance of this orchestra and of our long-term goals. So may our goals be realized by our actions, and our actions be guided by these values. Captain Fantastic. It was a good movie. We are defined by our action, not our words. And I thought, when I saw this quote, I thought, oh, that's perfect for the Rotary, because Rotarians walk the talk, and that's what this is really all about. So the values of the Pro-Musica organization, demonstrating fiscal responsibility. If people are donating, you want to know that that money is going for a long-term sustainable thing and is not being abused, used, thrown out. Supporting our community is at the heart of the organization. So the greater the community benefits from beautiful music, of course, if you've been to a live orchestra concert, it is such a different experience than hearing it through some speakers or hearing it on it is a completely different experience, okay? And you have to, I mean, seeing a jazz band or seeing a guitarist in your restaurant or going to a concert with a few people is one thing. When you go to a concert and there's a full orchestra playing, it's just a different experience. I mean, it's quite transcendental. You know, and this music is hundreds of years old and has really lasted that long. And there's a reason for that, because it really does bring our level of consciousness to a new level. It really supports our spiritual health as well as our community health. And then part of this is supplying mentorship for the kids. So professional musicians that are in San Miguel that would like to support, they can play in the orchestra, they can play the concerts, they sit next to the kids, they can help them along. We have that kind of support available to us as well. Values for the young adult musicians. Okay, demonstrating responsibility. As I said earlier, you know, they get a stipend, and I want them to be responsible for that. So they have to practice hard, very hard, preparing their music. That's their job through the week. And they attend all rehearsals. Showing professionalism. They arrive early to be warmed up and ready to play when rehearsals are performed and the performances start. In professional orchestras in North America, if a musician shows up late, they usually get fired and they lose their position because there's 20 people that want that particular seat. So they have to be there early. Traffic doesn't matter. It's those kinds of things. They have to be prepared to be there on time and to be ready to play. Showing professionalism by being warmed up and being there early and prepared. Having integrity. To me, that is one of our most important values that we can try to teach these kids. Having the integrity to attend the practices and the performances and not just for the money. And I'm seeing that out of these kids. They feel so dedicated. And then, of course, showing respect to the musicians, myself, and the patrons. The values of our community now. So financial contributions to help us be sustainable and to support these young musicians. Attending the concerts, of course, because that's our beautiful time together, our ability to dance together. And then volunteers. For people who can't, support us through financial means, there's always things that have to be done in order to put on the concert. Concerts are a big deal. There's a lot of details that have to be taken care of. Many hands make light work. Yeah. To play a wrong note is insignificant, according to Beethoven. To play without passion is inexcusable. I think traveling 2 hours each way shows a lot of passion, these kids. Could we show us that first clip? This is from our third concert last season at the outdoors at Instituto Allende. Thank you very much. And I have to say they've improved since then. So this season is really coming together nicely. Are we getting there? Okay. I just love this quote, and that it was appropriate for today, that your beliefs become your thoughts, which become your words, which become your actions, which become your habits, your values, and it forms your destiny. So I'm really hoping that this orchestra can continue to survive and become sustainable and be a foundation within San Miguel, not only for our community, but for these young musicians. Oh, good, we have time. I'm thrilled. Okay, here's a quick promotional video that a friend of mine helped me with last week. So at the rehearsal, you'll hear a lot of background noise for the students because they were warming up in the other room, and I brought them out to give you some personal stories. I also got a bunch of them to write it. Now, you have to understand that many that can't afford the bus fare to come there are too shy to speak or just to admit it, and there's all this. These 3 or 4 kids came up, they volunteered, they presented themselves so beautifully. I also got them those that could, that wanted to write me a note as to what the orchestra means to them. One of the most touching was a person who lost their father during the COVID. They lost their job, and the money that the orchestra is giving them allows them to pay their tuition for their school. So this is how important it can be for an individual. So I just was so touched by some of these stories that I hear from these kids. So let's hear them. Excuse me.
Hi, I'm Robert Mari, the music director and principal conductor of the Pro-Musica Youth Orchestra in San Miguel de Allende, Guanajuato, Mexico. This orchestra that's semi-professional, comprised of 18 to 30-year-old young Mexicans. Its principal mission is to nurture the lives of these young adults to help them in whatever career paths they choose. Most of them wish to be professional musicians working in orchestras, and as a result we perform music that are classics to help them in their careers. Whether it's Beethoven, Mozart, Haydn, Brahms symphonies, we do our best to help them along. We also give them a stipend, which helps them in their daily life and allows them to continue to study their music and to pursue their life careers and their dreams.
Hello, my name is Mar Dominguez. I'm part of the viola section of the Pro-Musica Youth Orchestra. As a professional music, I was studying in Querétaro City in the Faculty of Arts. I was studying music, but also music education, so I was instructed in psychology and the process of knowledge development in children. I am a teacher in an elementary school. I have in charge maybe 200 children, so I have to prepare him to enjoy and love music and be sensible to the arts. So I'm also in part of a music education group that is in charge of so many children in communities, little towns, and I'm very grateful with the people that support this orchestra, because with their money we can make many kind of things and mark difference in the life of other musicians.
Hola, mi nombre es Carolina Fuguet, soy violonchelista, tengo 27 años y soy venezolana y tengo aproximadamente 3 años aquí en México. Tuve la oportunidad de venir aquí a San Miguel de Allende, igualmente estaba buscando algún tipo de orquesta o movimiento musical aquí, y gracias por una compañera que me recomendó. Yo el año pasado pude ingresar a esta orquesta y de verdad doy muchas gracias porque me ha ayudado tanto en la parte académica a irme desarrollando como un repertorio bastante complejo y avanzado para mejorar mi técnica como chelista, y también obviamente en la parte monetaria, porque nosotros como músicos vivimos de nuestro instrumento y de nuestro talento.
Hola, mi nombre es Andrea Paula Barrios Martínez, yo soy originaria de San Luis Potosí. Bueno, mis metas como músico, es realmente convertirme en un músico profesional. Precisamente es lo que estoy estudiando desde que tengo 10 años. He estado en el camino de la música y pues es algo que sin duda alguna me ha enamorado por completo. El estar en esta orquesta me ha brindado una gran amplitud de la visión, de conocer diferentes amigos, diferentes músicos, diferentes estilos, diferentes directores, todo está.
Hola, mi nombre es Eduardo Guerra y soy trombonista de la orquesta de aquí de San Miguel de Allende. Me estoy preparando para ser músico profesional en la carrera de trombón bajo. Igualmente, pues esta orquesta ha sido bastante significativa en mi experiencia como músico, desde el repertorio que vemos hasta también el apoyo económico que nos ha brindado semana tras semana.
I hope you enjoyed listening to those musicians as much as I did. If you'd like to support us, you can make a financial contribution at our website, promusicasma.org. And under there, you'll find a tab for the youth orchestra, under the youth programs. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Can we go up to the next slide? Oh, it's coming. Here we go. So, our current needs. I think something, there we go, coming up. Okay, our current needs. So the first thing is spread the word that San Miguel has an excellent orchestra. I talk to people all the time. I didn't know there was an orchestra here. Of course, I mean, this is really our second big season. Under Tim, the group was about 15 to 20 musicians, maybe 25 at times. And they were, it was a different level of music that they were able to perform. Now we're bumping 50 musicians, and that's all that I can afford right now. With the money that Pro-Musica gives us, we can't have any more. I have to live within our budget. So any support that we get will either allow us to do more concerts, have more musicians, I can have more rehearsals to better prepare them. So that's where the next level of sponsorship will take us. Finding people willing to be part of an advisory board. Okay, this is really something that we need big time, because I just want to conduct and run the orchestra from a musical perspective. I don't want to be asking people for money all the time and for that kind of thing. We need to support. We need to have that support. So I'd like to point out Connie Cruz here in the white. So thank you, Connie. Connie is currently the head of our advisory board and the only member of the advisory board. So if you are well connected and would like to support the orchestra in a different way as a volunteer to try to collect people, I have one friend who has bought 15 tickets of potential donors. And that's his contribution. So I'm just like, wow, like he's paying for 15 people to come. That's $450 a ticket. So that's, we're looking at 7,000 pesos or something for him to bring these people that are potential donors. That's how he's helping. So advisories to the advisory board is Robin and Mary. Mary Norquist. So they've been very, very just instrumental in helping me and helping our advisory board, or helping Connie with our planning for the future. So if you have the energy as an advisor or could sit on the board, it's very little work sitting on the board. As Connie knows, I don't bug people. I try not to, I don't manage things tightly. I just want people out there that are spreading the word, whether it's that the orchestra exists or whether there's people that could find donors. Pro-Musica has a wonderful program for donors to sponsor an individual musician or a section. If you like violins, you can sponsor the violin section. Each musician costs about 15,000 pesos. That's how much they get over the 6-month season that we have. So for 15,000 pesos, you can sponsor a particular person, you can watch them grow over the years, you can have that personal connection with them. Or if you want to do something general, then that helps as well, obviously, it all helps. We just purchased timpani, and I'm looking for people who want to make one-time donations towards those timpani. I managed to buy these timpani for $2,000 US, brand new, they're normally 40 to 50,000. Okay, so I got a good deal through eBay, and it was, I must say, it was not easy getting it to Bellas Artes, and 2 wheels broke. So now on Wednesday, I'm meeting up with a guy who's a welder, and we have to take them from Bellas Artes to his anyhow, it's, you know the kinds of details you have to worry about. And then, of course, our third main current need is as I'm talking about, is the financial part of it. So primarily, get the word out there for us as much as you can that we have a beautiful orchestra. December 11th, Sunday, there's a terrific concert happening at Bellas Artes. If you have the energy or know people who would love orchestras and want to support the kids and could help us raise funds, that would be fantastic for us to have a board of people that work together and communicate. And then if you have the means or know of people who have the means, please spread the words that we would love those donations. Final slides coming up here. So, by giving a stipend to the young adult musicians, having others from the community playing with them, and performing great works of music, we nourish and manifest our mission, our vision, goals, and the values. And that's what I've been presenting all this time. And finally, enrich both the lives of the young adult musicians and the community of San Miguel. Inspire our musicians to give us their best. And inspire our community to support them. And perform. Performance is a partnership between the audience and the performers. One without the other is not a performance at all. Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions at all? No? Yes.
I just wondered, if kids can't afford a bus trip, how do they afford their instruments?
Well, many of them are using the money to save money in order to purchase an instrument. They borrow instruments. They find them from a teacher who has an extra instrument and loans it to them for a while. This is some of the musicians have parents who can afford their instruments. So not all of them are that struggling. But they still don't have the experience of playing in an orchestra because it's just not available to them. So there's the two parts to it. Okay? So yes, and some of the instruments are quite inferior in the orchestra, and we're trying to support them with that as well. And certainly, by supporting one musician, you're giving them that opportunity to purchase an instrument on their own or to get a proper instrument, to get a better instrument. Yes?
Years ago, our club supported a small group that was involved with, Robin will know more about this. The kids were at the orphanages, and we provided a grant that bought instruments for numerous children, boys and girls of the 3 orphanages. Are they part of your group? Do you have any of these kids? Do you know about that, or do you know what happened to their instruments, or no?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Okay.
So, sorry, no, I'm not familiar with that at all. If someone knows information on that, let's get us
Thank you.
connected. So, yes. Any other questions? Well, in that case, thank you very much.
Whoa, don't go anywhere. Robert, hang on. Real quickly, so December the 11th is the next concert at Bella Artis. Tickets are $450, 450 pesos each, and it's at 5 p.m., correct? All right, very good. How do you get tickets?
On Pro-Musica website.
Okay, promusica.org, correct? promusicasma.org. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah, Dorothy.
I tend to host musicians for Pro-Musica when they come. Do any of the musicians need overnight accommodation when they come?
At this point, they don't need overnight accommodation because that's sort of why we have a rehearsal between 11 and 2, so they have a chance to take the bus back. It sort of works. The ones from Lyon, some of them have to come 2 hours early because that's the way the bus schedule works. So at this point, no, but it's certainly nice to know that because when we have our concerts for the gala and our final concert is on a Thursday night, it's not a Sunday, then there's evening kind of issues that might come up, so that's wonderful.
Okay, well, stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you.
Robert, in appreciation for you coming here today, Rotary Club of San Miguel de Allende has a certificate of appreciation for your presentation. A donation of 10 polio immunizations will be made in your honor to the End Polio Now campaign. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.